Saudi Arabia is threatening retaliation against any sanctions imposed for the alleged murder of Washington Post contributor Jamal Khashoggi. He has been missing for nearly 2 weeks and was last seen entering the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. The Saudi government has denied any involvement in Khashoggi's disappearance, but Turkey says it has audio and video recordings proving he was killed inside the consulate. President Trump told 60 Minutes the Saudi government deserves, quote, severe punishment if it's responsible for Khashoggi's death.
Tell everybody what's at stake here. You know, this
well,
is
there's a lot at stake.
Yeah.
There's a lot at stake, and maybe especially so because this man was a reporter. There's something, you'll be surprised to hear me say that, there's something really terrible and disgusting about that if that were the case. So we're going to have to see. We're going to get to the bottom of it, and there will be severe punishment.
All right, CBS News senior national security contributor Michael Morell was former acting and deputy CIA director, and he joins me now from Washington. This is quite a case. The Turkish government says Khashoggi recorded himself being tortured and killed. They say there's a recording on his Apple Watch. But what do we know about that? Does the U.S. intelligence community have any information that could confirm that?
I think a very important point, Anne-Marie, is that we still don't know what happened. There are, at this moment, two competing narratives. One narrative is the Turkish narrative about luring him to the consulate, interrogating him, assassinating him, dismembering him. And then there's the Saudi narrative about him coming to the consulate and then leaving the consulate, and they don't know anything else. Nobody has provided any evidence yet of either one of those narratives. So the first thing that has to happen here is we have to get to the bottom of what happened at that consulate. And the U.S. intelligence community and the FBI need to play a significant role in that.
So Turkey's leaders and Saudi Arabian leaders have spoke yesterday about working together maybe on this investigation. How credible could we expect their findings to be, though?
Well, their narratives are so contrary to each other that it's going to be difficult to see how such an investigation can get any traction. What I think has to happen here, Anne-Marie, is that the Turks need to provide to the United States any information that they have, any evidence they have. I believe that they have some sort of intelligence sources inside that consulate. They need to provide that information to the United States. The Saudis need to provide what they have. And then U.S. intelligence needs to collect its own information so that it can corroborate whatever the Turks and the Saudis tell the United States, so we can give the president a complete picture here as he makes a very difficult decision.
Yeah, you know what we heard from the president, and he certainly seemed reluctant to directly accuse Saudi Arabia of being involved in Khashoggi's disappearance, certainly reluctant to cut off any sales of weapons and sort of anything that could damage American business with Saudi Arabia. But then there's maybe Congress. How could the U.S. actually respond in a critical or negative way to the Saudis if they are deemed responsible?
So if they are deemed responsible, I believe, as many do, that they need to pay a significant price. We need to send a signal to the rest of the world that even our closest allies and partners can't get away with something like this. So there needs to be action taken. There's a range of possible actions. So at one end of the spectrum, it would be specific sanctions against individuals and entities in Saudi Arabia that may have been involved in this. In the middle might be a temporary delay in defense sales, and at the far end would be deeper, broader sanctions. I would imagine that we would end up somewhere at the lower end or in the middle, but I do think we'll see, if the Saudis are deemed responsible, we will see at least a cutoff in defense sales.
Really? Because the president seemed a little uneasy with that as an option. Nonetheless, this has got to be damaging to the U.S.-Saudi relationship, specifically in terms of our support for Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman.
So one of the unfortunate things here is that this is an extraordinarily important relationship between the United States and Saudi Arabia. They are a strategic ally in the region. And because of what happened here, that relationship will be undermined. To the benefit of our adversaries, to the benefit of Russia, to the benefit of China, and most importantly, to the benefit of Iran. It's also going to stir political intrigue in Saudi Arabia. The Crown Prince has his opponents, and they will see this as a moment of weakness, and they will try to take advantage of it. So a lot going on here, a lot yet to play out.
So did the CIA know of a Saudi plan to kidnap Khashoggi? And if that's the case, why wouldn't the U.S. warn him?
So we don't know what the CIA knew beforehand. We only know what the media is saying. I think we need to know exactly what the CIA knew. I think we need to know exactly what the CIA did or didn't do regarding warning him. Had I been in my old job, Anne-Marie, I would have insisted that we warn him. So I think that deserves its separate investigation once we figure out what indeed happened there.
Michael Morell, thank you so much.
You're welcome.